We'll skip past morality for a minute, because I've been doing some reading about moral psychology recently. In fact, I'll just put the man's name up right now. It's a really good book. It came out in 2012. I saw the title, I downloaded it to my Kindle almost immediately and then didn't read it. And then a student in our master's class came up and asked if I knew of this person's work, and I said no. And he told me about him. I said, oh, that sounds great. And I went to buy it on my Kindle, and it said I already owned it, right? And this is like 5 years after I downloaded it. And I wish I had read it when it first came out in 2012, because then I could have had the pleasure of having this excellent writer and researcher and thinker agree with me for 5 years already. The guy's name is Jonathan Haidt. It's spelled H-A-I-D-T, but it's pronounced Haidt. And the book is really good. It's called The Righteous Mind, Why Good People Are Divided by Politics and Religion. And in the first part of the book, there's an excellent summary of some relatively recent research in official psychology land about morality and, well, what we would call belonging. And two main things come out of it. One is an underlining of the breakthrough discovery in the middle 1990s in the land of officially rigorous psychological research. The breakthrough discovery that human beings, with an apostrophe S, that are, or an S apostrophe, however one to do it, that our emotions are not failed thoughts. Until the middle 1990s, there was proper reasoning and cognition, and then there were affects. They use the word affects, right? Affect. We would use the word state or emotion or feeling. Until the middle 1990s, feelings were failed thoughts. And then this man named Antonio Damasio did some really lovely work with all his folks and published his results and confirmed that human beings use feeling as part of their thinking. And so since about 1995, it has been legitimate and valid to have feelings. And before that, we don't even want to think about it, because it feels too bad, yeah? And the other discovery, more recently, this is Jonathan Haidt's work, is that human beings make their decisions about what is morally good and morally reprehensible. They make their decisions about what we would call belonging based on how stuff feels. Put your jaws back up. Okay? Until he proved it, it was questionable. Moral reasoning was supposed to be accomplished by rigorous cognitive events. Thinking, unsullied by the sticking nastiness of emotions. The mind versus the passions, my friends. Right? So he did some really lovely stuff, and it turns out that people, human beings, figure things out based on how they feel. And I wish I had read that in 2012, because I could have been even more righteous. My mind would have been even more righteous for all these years. But then we probably would have had to think of something else to talk about. For those who are new to this stuff, just a couple of things to pose this question to the group. The old-timer students know the correct answer on this already. But big questions. What makes good and positive things good and positive? I said we were going to skip morality, but we're back to it. What makes good and positive things good and positive, and what makes bad and negative things bad and negative? We have lots of things to choose from lately just in current events, don't we? So let's think about the sarin gas attack in Syria just a few days back. Probably everyone in this room regards this as a bad and negative thing, right? The event of it, the doing of it, the fact of it. What makes that a bad and negative event? We could discuss that a long, long, long time. We could make out very, very detailed lists about the specifics of that experience and the violations inherent in that event, and on and on and on and on, and we would be right, no question. And then what I would ask us to do is put our attention on one of those people in the world who regards those events in Syria from a few days ago as good and positive. What would make those events good and positive for that person? Because there are those folks in the world, we absolutely know that, right? They are very sure that their experience is accurate, that their evaluation of those events is correct and necessary. And then there are those of us here in this room, and we have a really different experience. So there's a really simple answer to these questions as soon as we go into the land of NLP a little bit. A main thing in neuro-linguistic programming, it's not what things are that matters, it's how they feel. So what makes the events in Syria from a few days ago negative and bad is how they feel. To whom? To us. Right? Those other folks I was talking about somewhere in the world who have these very same events and get really righteously good experience from it, who celebrate it, they have really different feelings than we do. Their feelings are being generated in ways identical to the way ours are being generated. They're just being generated differently, right? In other words, the process that's going on for them produces really good feelings. The process that goes along for us produces really bad feelings. The processes are effectively the same. If you're a student of this stuff, we could go elicit we could pull out of them their neuro-linguistic programming that are generating the really, really good feelings, and we could discover the ones in ourselves that generate the really, really bad feelings about it. We would find that the steps in the sequence, the programming that our brains use to generate our realities would be the very same things. Different pictures, different sounds, maybe the same pictures and the same sounds, we don't know. But the feelings that come out would be really, really different. How come? Well, that how come is that's about a 2-year-long answer. So just for this evening, let's just please notice that it's how stuff feels that matters. And the point is that how stuff feels is entirely dependent on the programming that generates the feelings. If we get in there and change the programming, we change the feelings. When we change the feelings, we change the meaning, we change the morality, we change the entire evaluation. The entire thing is invented. Nevertheless, we know that our experience of that is correct and theirs is not, right? Unless you want to get really liberal about it. And let's not start that too soon, because I do want to dip into politics just a little bit at the end. For those who are new to this stuff, a couple of more things. These are not just NLP, this is NLP Marin. We always and only select the best feeling option that is available on our life's menu. Well, this is a presupposition. There's a presupposition in conventional neurolinguistic programming that says people are always doing the best they can with what they have, right? And this is a presupposition, not a received truth. But it's true. People are always doing the best they can with what they have. And the way this happens is we always and only select the best feeling option that is on our life's menu. No exceptions ever. So think of all those failed intentions and thwarted plans of yours. Or if you're batting 1,000 in life, then think of the poor people you are forced to associate with who aren't nearly as effective in life as you are. Every single thing you've ever done was put into operation because it was that thought, that moment of time, that little fraction of experience, maybe that gigantic behavioral disaster. Every little bit, no matter what the scale of it, every little bit happens because it's the best feeling option on our menu at the moment. No exceptions ever. And then people routinely ask, and understandably so, but what about these disastrous choices I've made in terms of relationship? What about that stock in Blockbuster that I bought? What about that? Okay? And we would say, the choice that you made right there, the experience you had, at least what you put into motion, what happened internally, and then maybe what you put into motion externally, that comes as a direct consequence of that being the best feeling option on the menu in the moment, no exceptions. And then people say, well, then how come I make such bad choices? And then we would say, no, you're not making a bad choice. You're not selecting anything but the best possibility right in that moment, ever. The difficulty is that there is an impoverished menu, a menu that lacks options. So if tonight we gave you only two choices, for example, to leave here this evening condemned to a life of unending guilt or unending innocence, doomed to one or the other, you would probably select the one that feels better. And if you selected the one that all the rest of us think would feel worse, you would do that because that felt better. Only a really, 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 really good and innocent person is willing to take on all the guilt. Yeah, and that feels really good. So, no one ever selects the third best item on the menu in the restaurant, is the thing that I usually say about that. Unless they have a bet, a noticeable bet, like monetary bet with a friend, about whether or not they can do that. So they will go in and they will select the third most attractive thing to them on the menu to win the bet. And that winning of the bet is a very good feeling. That's the best feeling available. They don't mind the Southwestern gonorrhea burger or whatever it is, okay? They'll select it to maybe that was supposed to be gorgonzola, I'm not sure.
Back that one up.
Yeah, we'll back that up. We'll fix that in post-production, yeah. They selected the thing that felt the best. So could you please take a moment and do a quick review of all your life's shortcomings and your own shortcomings and your life's failures, noticing that you never once selected that burger. Feel good about it. Feel good about it right now. But actually, do please review your entire... Please do review your entire life, all the places where you missed the boat, missed the mark, and had any number of other things occur. How is your sense of yourself about that? Now, about that past, we have a principle around here, I haven't put it on a flip chart, that about everything that has occurred, like right up until right now, boom, right now, boom, which keeps creeping forward, but right now, about everything that has occurred up until right now, it is best to operate as if we had absolutely no choice. Absolutely no choice. We are creatures for whom our free will is the most important thing for us, folded into the experience of belonging at whatever level we're calculating that. But the thing about it is our free will is all pre-programmed. And Yeah. Thank you. So about everything that's occurred until right now, we might as well just give ourselves a pass, is one of our principles. Another one. It's the very best thing that we could do. It's the very best choice we could make. Now, from right now on toward the future, just to skip ahead a little bit, about the past, we want to operate as if we had absolutely no choice, and about the future, we want to operate as if choice is the only thing we have. Because it's the only thing we have. So if our programming as humans, if the way we're put together is, if the way the interaction of our spirit and our nervous system and our sense of ourselves, if all that produces the very best choice available every moment, and a lot of that's so unsatisfactory, whatever shall we do? So the answer there, because we can't learn to make better choices, we're already making the very best choice possible. What we can do is learn to add more and more better options to our menus. Right? That's the only thing we can do. We're already picking the best thing, automatically. And if we have to sit, and this is where I want to come back into these questions of belonging and morality, if we sit and consider what is the good here, if we sit and consider that we are still only speed of light evaluating a bunch of little feelings, little micro feelings. For those who are unfamiliar with our slang, the word that NLP uses for the sense called the feeling sense, whether it's emotional feelings or body feelings, that word is kinesthetic. A kinesthetic representation is the official slang. It's abbreviated with the letter K. So psychologists talk about affects, right? And we talk about Ks. So whatever experience we have, the feeling that goes with it, the reality that it is generated by who knows how many tiny little feelings. Every moment, every moment, every moment. And these are kind of aggregated into larger perceptions and deep understandings, or not. Let's go back to the events in Syria, please. What lets you know to get bad feelings about that? Would be a really very serious, heavy-duty NLP question. What lets you know to do that? Well, what that question means in more technical terms is, what is the programming that produces the feelings you have? Now, I don't think there's any of us in this room that would like a different feeling about that, except the feeling that the release that would come if it had not occurred, and perhaps events subsequent to that. But there's no one here who would like to have a better feeling about those events. But everyone in this room would like to have a number of better feelings about this or that in our lives. A client recently said the most extraordinarily, I think it was extraordinarily useful thing. I was chatting away with this person, and the person said, and the subject was relationship. Big subject. And the person said, so bum, 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 bum. And then I start to go for what I want, or I start to desire what I want. Can you all just kind of flow along with that about something in your life? You want something, and you're just about to reach for it or want it. Maybe want it first and then reach for it in some way. He said, and then what I do every time is what I want, I take what I want off the menu. And I go for something else instead. So the question that we would ask always is, how does this person know how to take that off the menu? How is that pattern? What is the programming that tells them that? And if we wanted to keep it on the menu, how would we do that? And what I'm going to suggest is that we would have to adjust a number of things, but what they would all boil down to is this one. Belonging. We talk a lot in class about beliefs issues of belief and issues of identity. Beliefs are our assumptions. Well, the word says it right there. Beliefs about what the world's made of and who's in that world and how it works. That's belief level work, belief level attention. And then we talk also about identity, which is a little bit above that. And identity level change work in NLP is about revealing and revising our beliefs about who we are and what we are and maybe where we are and what's available to us in the world and not available to us in the world. We can boil that whole thing down to a question of belonging. Do we belong in the class of beings who can experience X, Y, Z or not? Please think of your most precious desired experience. And I do mean by that, I mean it's one that, let me specify that. Well, something that you desired and then you manifested. It happened. You permitted it into your world. It's going on right now. Please notice the sense, the feeling of that, and you will notice that you obviously belong in a class of beings for whom that experience is available. How did that happen? It was programmed. How did it get programmed? Just get born on Earth and be raised by human beings instead of wolves. Right? And it comes out that way.